10 things you need to know before moving to New York. With so many people flocking to New York City, it's hard to know which New York City rumors are true or not. Is the subway dangerous? Do New Yorkers really go out for drinks and clubbing all the time? Are all apartments as tiny as in the movies? Here are the top 10 things you need to know before moving to New York City. Number 1. The subway can be a strange place. New York City has a population of about 8.8 million people. More than half of residents rely on public transportation to move around the city. Since the subway system is the cheapest and most convenient way for most people to travel, there are bound to be some strange interactions that take place. Most residents have their own stories of all the strange things they have witnessed on the subways, ranging from unique and interesting costumes, funny animals, and, of course, all the gross and inappropriate behaviors. Half the fun of taking the subway is not knowing what will happen next. When moving to New York City, be prepared to see the unexpected on the subway. Eventually, you will become desensitized to even the most outrageous stunts pulled on the subway. Number 2. You will probably live in a walk-up apartment. Most of New York City residents live in apartment buildings. Interestingly, many apartments do not have elevators, so chances are you will have to climb the stairs up to your apartment unit. While this may sound like good exercise at first, imagine carrying up arms full of groceries or larger, bulkier items. So keep this in mind when apartment hunting, and if you do end up in a walk-up apartment, at least you will get fit and have great upper body strength. Number 3. You will probably eat and drink on a budget. The cost of living in New York City is extremely high. Since many people spend most of their income on rent, they will have to be frugal with their remaining money. One way to lower expenses is by eating and drinking on a budget. New York City has a few options when it comes to buying food. In addition to grocery stores, fast food joints, and restaurants, you have the option to buy food at fresh fruit stands and food carts. There are also apps that will help you find the best deals on food around the city. By living frugally most of the time, you will be able to enjoy a night out every once in a while, guilt-free. Number 4. Despite the cost, Uber is your new way of life. After a night out with friends, the last thing you want to do is to figure out how to navigate home via the subway system. You will find taking an Uber home much more convenient. Despite the cost, you will find it easier and easier to justify ordering a ride. Getting a ride home is much more comfortable than waiting on the cold subway platform for a delayed train, sharing an overcrowded carriage, and then having to walk home the remaining few blocks from the station. Many people decide that taking an Uber is worth the extra expense in order to avoid the hassle of public transportation. Number 5. Friendships may be fleeting. New York City is one of the many transient cities in America. Many people move to New York City with big dreams and a glamorized idea of what life in the Big Apple is like. Unfortunately, the fast-paced, expensive lifestyle is not sustainable for everyone. After a few years, many people move out of the city and make their homes elsewhere. New York City is also labeled a workaholic city. Many people spend most of their time working 1, 2, or even 3 jobs in order to afford the high cost of living. Naturally, this blurs the lines of a healthy work-life balance. Social events turn into networking and work events turn into social gatherings. When making friends in New York City, chances are high that they are your coworkers and they will move on to another place within a few years. This is just the natural order of life in New York City. Number 6. The temperature is out of control. Many New York City apartment heating and cooling systems are controlled by the landlords of the buildings. The residents have no control over the temperature within their own units. This may result in too cold or too hot temperatures within your apartment building that is out of your control. Be prepared to invest in fans or heaters to make your space more comfortable. You can always open the windows if needed. This is one of the most important things to know before moving to New York City. You don't control the temperature settings. Number 7. Endless entertainment. There is such a large variety of activities throughout New York City to participate in that there is something for everyone's taste. Some forms of entertainment offered include the legendary nightlife of New York City, many world-class museums and galleries, hundreds of parks and natural areas, theme parks and water parks, zoos and botanical gardens, and much, much more. Whether you enjoy ice skating in the crisp winter air or watching a comedy show indoors, there is plenty to keep you busy year-round. Remind yourself of all the exciting things to do in New York City regularly, otherwise you will forget to relax and get caught up in the rat race of work. Number 8. Know your area, especially at night. Safety has always been a huge concern for many people, especially when it comes to major cities in America. New York City is especially known for having a crime-ridden history. Violent gang wars, mobsters, and drug epidemics inspired hundreds of books, movies, and television shows. While New York City has come a long way from its sketchy past and is currently considered one of the safest cities in America, it is still important to know the area you live and work in, and which areas to avoid at night. It is vital to have a planned route where you stick to major streets that are always bustling with activity and avoid darkened alleyways. It is also good practice to be aware of your surroundings and make sure you know who is around you at all times. There is still some areas of New York City that is unsafe at night and should be avoided, just like every other major city in America. Number 9. Healthcare. Healthcare in America is a very complicated matter and is not universally available for everyone. It is important for everyone to get health coverage from insurance companies in case of medical emergencies. Life in New York City can be unpredictable, and you don't want to get caught off guard without healthcare. Many clinics and hospitals will not treat patients without healthcare. You can always check to see if you receive healthcare through your work or qualify for healthcare with government assistance. This is especially important in a city like New York City, where anything is possible. Number 10. Not all neighborhoods are busy. New York City is known as the city that never sleeps. However, this does not mean that everything is open 24/7. There are certain neighborhoods where everything closes at fairly early hours and the nightlife is virtually non-existent. The streets empty at night and remain deserted until sunrise the next day. The glamorized nightlife of New York City portrayed in the media is usually Brooklyn and Manhattan. Make sure you know the area you are moving into. If it is a neighborhood that closes down early, make sure you find a few stores to stop into for late-night emergency supplies or midnight snacks. You never know when these situations arise, so make sure you are prepared. Bonus: Times Square is a trap. Every New Yorker knows that they should avoid Times Square at all costs. Times Square does not accurately represent the culture and beauty of New York City. All the billboards and bright lights are sponsored by big brands and are there to advertise products for profit. Times Square is always overcrowded with tourists, and it is a major inconvenience for New Yorkers who are trying to go about their daily routines. If you move to New York City, the novelty of Times Square will wear off, and you will understand the frustration it causes the local residents. Final thoughts. These are the most important things to know before moving to New York City, as they affect major aspects of life in the city. Research the areas you plan to live and work in, familiarize yourself with the subway system, and brace yourself for anything you may see. Enjoy your nights out and cherish the time you have with your friends before they move on. Enjoy all the sights and sounds New York City has to offer, but remember to stick to your budget. But most importantly, before moving to New York City, be prepared for a whole new experience. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell.